Kia ora everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. I thought today we would do a recipe that's been in my family for years and years, and it was my mum's favourite. She never cooked it, but she ate it. My grandmother, or our grandmother, I can hear my cousins going, our grandmother, Beulah, she made the best Sultana cake, and so today we're going to have Sultana cake. On the stove I have got about 2.5 cups of sultanas. And I've covered them with water and I'm just boiling them now. As soon as I've finished boiling, which is about now, just let it boil for a little bit. And I'm going to drain the water and then add some of the other things that I've got. I've got 3 eggs, a cup of sugar, 2 cups of flour, and I've got my bacon, wouldn't that be funny? Baking powder in the flour ready to sieve. Now I've used the same cup to measure the flour as I have for the sugar. It's really important to use the same cup. You know, if I had this cup and another breakfast cup, then your cake may not work out as well. So let me get the sultanas sorted out and then we'll go from there, eh? See you soon. Righto, my sultanas are boiled enough. You know, they didn't need to boil for too long, just until the water sort of came to the boil. I've drained the water, so there they are. Can you see the steam? Boop. And I am going to add 250 grams of golden butter. I told you how expensive it was here, eh? It's ridiculous. But I can't do without butter. Sorry. So I'm going to add my butter into here and then just let it melt. And then I'll start to get the rest of the ingredients sorted out. So let me mix this up. Let that melt and I'll be with you in a moment. Okay. Right, our butter's melted beautifully into our sultanas, and I'm just going to add our sugar. Now I've used caster sugar, I just like it. It's not so grainy. I just like it. But if you've got plain sugar, just normal granulated sugar, use that, that's good, it's all good. I just happen to have this in the cupboard. So I'm adding my cup of sugar and I've got my 3 eggs that I have just whisked up a bit, and I'm going to chuck that in as well. Give it a quick mix. You see that? Delish. You know, people say that Sultana cake is an old person's cake. I love it. It's because I'm old. Right. And I am going to sieve my flour and my baking powder. Now, look, can you see that? I think my grandkids jumped on it. Gonna love them. I can't sell them. Right. So let me add that, and then I'm just going to give it a quick mix up. Now remember also, when you're baking, you know, don't concrete mix, okay? Just mix it until it's combined, okay? That's all you need to do. Otherwise, you tend to beat out the air, you know, from it. So, and then you get a cake that's a bit not as fluffy. That's my theory anyway. So let me give this a mix up, and I'm going to give it a squirt of some vanilla essence. If you haven't got this flash vanilla essence, use whatever you've got. Normally I've got the cheap stuff, but I stole this off my sister. So let me do that. Let me mix it all up and I'll show you what that looks like when it's finished, eh? I thought it might be a good idea to show you how I mix it up, so that you can see that I don't mix it like a concrete mixer. Good squirt of that. Beautiful. I can remember my teacher, Mrs. Jones, at high school, and she used to say never to use a wooden spoon to mix your cake. And I think she's right. I think those metal spoons are probably better, but well, this is what I've got at the moment. Right, and this is pretty much ready for the oven. How good does that look? My husband's going to love me. He's going to eat this with way too much butter. Okay, so I'm going to pop it into a tin. Use whatever tin you've got. Remember also that the smaller the tin, the longer it's going to take. The bigger the tin, then the shorter amount of time it's going to take to bake. So I've got my oven on, and I don't know what temperature I've got it on. I'll tell you soon, okay? And we'll go from there, eh? See you soon. Okay, I've got my round cake tin. I've chucked a bit of paper on the bottom, And I'm just using the old butter wrapping just to grease the outside. Now, if you really, really want to be, you know, make sure that it's not going to stick, then you could add a little bit of flour, like a teaspoon of flour to it, just plain flour. Shake it around, make sure it's up all the sides and things like that, and that should also help it to not stick. Okay, right, so I've got my cake mix. I'm going to put it into my, it's heavy, into my tin, and then I'm going to pop it in the oven. I have the oven going at 180 degrees. 180 degrees, you're not surprised, are you? 180 degrees, and it's fan bake. If you haven't got a fan bake oven, then that's fine. It might mean that your cake might take just a little bit longer to cook, okay? The fan bake tends to be a little bit faster, and it's going to take about half an hour. Around half an hour, you want to be checking your cake, okay? And just check to see whether it's cooked or not. To check that, just get a clean knife and stick it into the middle, and if it comes out without any batter on it, any, you know, wet batter, then she should be good to go. The other way that you can check is if your cake is spongy, okay, and I'll show you that later on. So let me pop this into the oven. My husband's going to be so happy with me. And then I'll see you soon. I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished, eh? Okay, it's time to go and get our cake out. So let's go and have a look, and we'll see how we know when it's ready. Ta-da! Looks pretty flippin' good. Now, I've got a sharp knife. I'm just going to pop it down here, and it's come out clean. See that? So there's no batter left on it. It's nice and clean. So that means our cake is cooked. The other thing that we can do is check to see whether it sponges back, which it is. So that's a nice evenly cooked cake. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let it cool down. Like, I'm going to hide it from my husband. Let it cool down, and it will shrink a little bit, and then it'll make it easier to get it out of the tin. So I'll see you in a few minutes, eh? So this is our cake that's coming out of the oven. It's cooling down. This would be perfect, like for a dessert with custard and some fruit. Or even with, you know, like when it cools down, having way too much butter on it. That's the way I like it. If you want to make it, a little bit more special, you could do things like grate some lemon rind into it and put some lemon juice in it instead of putting like vanilla essence. There's lots of things that you can do. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was this. Hang on. Whoop. These are my eggshells. I saved them because I've just planted some seedlings into my garden, you know, like my winter veg and things like that. And this is perfect for my garden because I'll just break them up and put them all around my seedlings, and it'll keep the snails off, and the worms will love them when they decompose. So it's a good way of recycling. That's us for this week. I hope you guys are well, and I hope you guys are taking care of yourself. We will see you next week. Ka kite anō.